All right, we're going to get started. Thank you all for being with us today. This is, of course, a very exciting day here at the bridge. This has taken a long time, and we were here on the other side of the bridge in 2017 to start. So symbolically, it's important that we're on this side of the bridge with the net done this year, so 7 years later. So thank you for being here. And we're here to mark the completion, of course, of a life-saving project that took many years in the making. So, but we wouldn't be here without the relentless efforts of many of you here in this audience. Many of you family members, I'm not going to be able to acknowledge all of you, of course, but the family members and friends of those who jumped, we appreciate you being here very much, and for all of your support. You educated a generation of politicians and staff people about the horrors of suicide and mental illness, and your efforts succeeded, and that's one reason why we're here today, so thank you. Of course, we're very fortunate to have some public officials here today. We want to acknowledge, of course, the great Speaker Emeriti, Nancy Pelosi, is here, will be speaking. I also want to acknowledge former Senator Barbara Boxer. She was key. Many of us went back to D.C. a few times, and she and her staff were very helpful in getting legislation to allow some funding. But I also want to give special attention to Tom Amiano. Tom Amiano was on the Bridge District Board, the Board of Supervisors, the state legislature, and an MTC, and it was Tom's early efforts to bring money. I think the very first one was a small study for wind study back in the 2008 or so. And again, thank you, Tom, for your great efforts in getting this started and being relentless on it. So, and of course, the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, you're going to hear from the president of the MTC later, but they also were just tremendous in their funding, and their staff and their board have been with us throughout this long period, so we thank them very much. And I do want to acknowledge there are a few other people from, we have Marin County Supervisor Eric Lucan is in the audience, I believe. Eric, there he is over here. From Senator Butler's staff, we have Joanne Hayes-White. Well, Joanne is here, I think. Yeah, thank you. And Congressman Huffman has from his staff, Jenny Callaway. Jenny, thank you. And Congressman Desaunier from his office, Chanel Scales Preston. So thank you for being here, Sam. We also want to acknowledge that, the need for this is pretty evident. Some of you may know this, but in 2014, there were 38 people who jumped off the bridge that we know of, probably more. 2016, there were 39. 1 year, there was over 40. So it gives you an idea of the need for this project and how important it is and how happy we are that we are here finally today. But we also want to thank, the bridge patrol officers, the California Highway Patrol, the U.S. Coast Guard we see here today, and they were just tremendous. To give you an idea how the importance of it, in 2017, there were 245 interventions, which means somebody from the bridge board, somebody from the bridge staff, the CHP, the bridge patrol officers, the iron workers, or somebody on the bridge were able to stop somebody from jumping. So we can't thank them enough over the years. And of course, we want to thank the men and women of labor who built the net and who stayed with it throughout, and we thank them very much. So they've been a big part of this bridge, the men and women of labor, and particularly on this project. So thank you. I also want to acknowledge that this project doesn't get done easily, as you well know, but we want to give special thanks to our bridge engineer, Eva Bauer. Where's Eva here? She was the engineer during this entire time, having just retired last month. And John Eberle, who's now the new engineer, and their staff. The engineering team was tremendous on this, and we appreciate all their efforts. And of course, it's important to mention that the leadership of the district, our general manager, Dennis Mulligan, we wouldn't have gotten there without it. His leadership was in obtaining funding. Dennis is right down here. His work with legislators, staff people, politicians, D.C., Sacramento, MTC, was just immeasurable, and we thank you very much, Dennis. So, it is now my great honor to introduce our next speaker, who has been a tremendous supporter of the bridge and of this project. In 2012, Speaker Pelosi pushed forward new federal authorization bill that made the bridge suicide barrier eligible for funding, and that was critical in getting the funding. So Please join me in welcoming Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi.
Good morning, everyone. With your permission, I would just like to say that as one whose family has been the victim of political violence, I know firsthand that political violence of any kind has no place in our society. I thank God that former President Trump is safe. Our thoughts are with the loved ones of Corey Compatore. This man was lying on top of his family. He died. They were saved. The firefighter who was killed protecting his family. We pray that all the injured and all those in attendance who suffered the trauma of this, we pray for them because of this horrible assassination attempt. I think it's really important for us in every opportunity we get to put aside the thought that political violence is a way to resolve difficulty. Now to celebrate. The families are our VIPs today, and of course, Kimberly Renee, she will be speaking for them, are our VIPs. You turned your pain, your anger in many cases, into action so that we could save other lives, and we are grateful to you for that. Thank you for your advocacy, your generosity of spirit, and for being here. I want to join in acknowledging Dennis Mulligan. Yes, we worked very closely with him. Dennis, thank you for your leadership. And Tom Amiano for, blue hair today. I thought it was going to be orange. Democrat. I was not being political here, but go blue. I like that. Maybe I'll try that. Dick Goswell, with the Golden Gate Bridge Board, former president and board member, assembly member Damon Connolly, Dina Telwanzi, director of Caltrains 4, David Rabbit, Metropolitan Transportation Commission, and as I mentioned, Kimberly Renee Gamboa. I mentioned them because all of these organizations, whether it was officially or by mobilization, were essential in making today happen. It was my privilege to join other members of the California Bay Area congressional delegation in adding funds to the 2014 highway bill. Mr. Hoffman and Mr. DeSaulnier are members of that committee now, and so helped us when we got the $400 million for the Bay Bridge recently in the infrastructure bill. So it goes on. But in terms of this, it was a change in the law. You wouldn't even think this would be necessary. It was a change in the law that allowed federal funds to be used on life-saving safety barriers and nets. Before that, all the local money, that was one thing, but localities received federal money. But that could not be used for this purpose until that bill. Again, thank you for your advocacy, because I always say we can do so much maneuvering internally, but the outside mobilization makes a difference. Around that time, or even before, Tom, you remember this, people would say, it's too much money. It costs too much money to do that. Well, how much money is too much money to save lives? We just had to reject that attitude. Just reject that attitude. So I mentioned and we secured in the course of this time $133 million in federal funds to add this vital protection to the bill. Thank you for your mobilization to make that possible. And that was with Caltrans, with Metropolitan Transportation Commission, Golden Gate Bridge Board, etc. So thank you all for what you have done. Today we gather in memory of every family or every person who was lost on this bridge, and with the urgency of those we may spare suffering. This is an iconic bridge in the world. It is a source of pride to us, but it has been a source of pain to families, and we want that to stop. It must stop, and it will stop because of the families' activism and mobilization. Today, together, we're providing a critical second chance for troubled men and women, and we're honoring we under a deep moral responsibility to save lives wherever and whenever we can. It's just our heart breaks at the thought of what could have been prevented. And I want to join in acknowledging our friends in the labor movement who built this. I'm especially in awe of the iron workers. I mean, that they get up, they're so brave and courageous, and in this case, in even helping to save lives in addition to building this bridge. Together, we're ensuring a magnificent landmark stands as a faithful companion to all San Franciscos who are in awe and inspiring, awing visitors and inspire them when they come here with something, again, more as a source of pride than as a source of pain. So with this ceremony, we mark the completion of to a suicide deterrent system that will, again, I keep saying it, save countless lives. I just want to acknowledge, I see Janet Riley here, and I don't think I've ever been to a bridge event where you haven't been, Janet, so thank you. Thank you for your leadership in all of it throughout. But so many, each and every one of you, I see the director of the Presidio here, which you were sort of cozy, buddy with the bridge, and where is she? She likes her son. Where are you? Wave your hand. Oh, there. Thank you for being here. But thank all of you for being here. This is a sense of community, and community has the word unity in it. We came together to make a difference, to do so in a way that saves lives and honors our responsibility to the people, whether it's as was mentioned earlier, as Dick mentioned, mental illness and its challenge that it has to our society, to our families, to our people. So again, for so many reasons, whether you built the bridge, whether you're maintaining the bridge, whether you built this structure, whether you've mobilized to make it safer, whether you provided the funds, whatever it happens to be, unity, community to save lives. Thank you all so much. It's an honor to be with you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Great.
Thank you very much, Speaker. As you can tell, she's been a star on this issue for the whole time, and we wouldn't be here without her, so thank you very much. I did want to acknowledge, and she did mention one of them, but I did want to acknowledge the president of our board of directors, Jerry Cochran. Jerry, please stand up. He's the chair of the board from Del Norte County, been a great leader. And we have some other former chairs, Sabrina Hernandez. Please stand up, Sabrina. And of course, and as the speaker just mentioned, Janet Riley was president of our board and was a leader on this issue for many, many years. So thank you for being here, Janet. And one of the former presidents of the board is not here, is the great John Moylan. We lost John about 3 years ago. And one of his, the headline in one of his obituaries was that he was the champion of the bridge suicide deterrent system. And he was on this board for over 20 years and was quite a great leader and we miss him. He was tremendous on this issue. So one other public official, president of the BART board, Bevan Dufty's, I believe, here. Where is Bevan? Here he is back. Thank you for being here, Bevan. On that note, it's now my pleasure to introduce the State Assemblyman representing the North Bay. This district includes the North Tower of the Golden Gate Bridge. Please welcome Assemblymember Damon Connolly.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone. It is truly my privilege to be here this morning. Speaker Emerita Pelosi, distinguished guests, particularly family members who are here and really brought this project across the finish line. Could not be more proud to represent Assembly District 12, which does include the North Tower of the Golden Gate Bridge. Sadly, many of the people lost at the bridge have been my constituents and are represented by the families here today, many who fought for years to get this barrier built. I'm glad to see this project completed now and ready to save lives. I'm also proud that the state legislature appropriated Proposition 63 mental health funds to help complete the net. At the time, it was an unusual investment, but today it is one of the best investments in saving lives we could have ever made. We have with us many members of the Mental Health Services Oversight and Accountability Commission who oversee those funds. I want to thank their executive director, commissioners, and staff for their important work. This project was only possible because of the community, as the speaker mentioned, led by family members here today who came together to save lives. So thank you to the many advocates, leaders, and staff who made this project a reality. Thank you so much, everyone. It's so amazing to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Some of you may not know this, but Caltrans has been a great partner to the Bridge District on this project and many others over the years. We are grateful for their assured commitment to saving lives, and they provided 1/3 of the funding for the net. So 1/3 is tremendous support from Caltrans. So I welcome Dina El-Tawanzi, the Director of Caltrans District 4. Dina?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dean El-Tawanzi, and I have the honor and the privilege of serving as the Caltrans District Director that serves the 9 Bay Area counties. You know, as I'm looking around me here, there's no doubt that we live in one of the most beautiful places in the state. We have all these beautiful, iconic bridges, and I tell you, at Caltrans, we take the responsibility of keeping them safe very seriously. Safety is our #1 goal, and it's the first of our 4 foundational principles of safety, climate action, economic prosperity, and equity. Public safety is at the core of why and how we manage our state transportation network. Today, we're all here because we share one common commitment, and that's the commitment to save lives. Caltrans and the Golden Gate Bridge District have a partnership that spanned on several decades. Our partnership for collaborating on solving issues. And we do recognize that suicide is a very serious issue that requires more than engineering and steel to address. It also requires us to be vigilant in our daily lives and be ready to help those that are struggling. Mental health resources are available for the public and for our workers. And I urge the public, our managers, all of us here to familiarize ourselves with the resources that are out there, such as dialing 988 to get immediate assistance. We are very, very proud of this beautiful global iconic landmark here in the Bay Area. And when Speaker Pelosi and her colleagues changed the law to help fund a barrier and help to prevent suicide, Caltrans joined the effort by delivering approximately 1/3 of the project funding. This project addresses wind issues, upgraded the maintenance traveler, and featured a placement of a net as a physical barrier under the bridge. If our work here today deters even one person, prevents one more attempt, all our efforts in funding, designing, and constructing are well worth it. The Golden Gate Bridge District and all the legislators and agency of local partners that have partnered on this really deserve the recognition for taking the proper action. But I just don't want to leave the podium without addressing the survivors and the families who have lost loved ones to mental illness. I want to assure you all that Caltrans is very committed to keeping all these bridges as safe as possible in every respect. Thank you all for joining us to commemorate this very special milestone. Appreciate all your attendance today. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. The Metropolitan Transportation Commission, also known as MTC, of course, has played a vital role in this project. They, too, contributed over a third of the project funding, and we thank their board members over the years and their staff. It was just critical, and they've been with us on so many projects at the bridge, but particularly on this net. And representing MTC, I'm pleased to introduce the President of the Commission and also a fellow board member on the Golden Gate Bridge Board, been a great board member, and that's David Rabbit. David?
Thank you, Dick. Dick did give me a promotion there. I'm actually not the president of MTC right now. I'm a executive board member, but do appreciate that. I am one of the vice presidents of the Bridge District as well, and it's an honor to serve on both commissions. And obviously the installation of the suicide deterrent net has been a top priority for the district, certainly in every one of my 13 years, but I know that it was already a longstanding priority when I arrived at the bridge. And fortunately, the net has also been a priority for MTC, as Dick mentioned. And this commemoration brings it with it a sense of accomplishment among both my bridge directors, past and present, but also my commission colleagues, past and present. We know that funds were well invested, and thanks to leaders and allies like Speaker Emerita Pelosi, our combined advocacy for the net in both Washington and Sacramento did not fall on deaf ears. And the net not only makes the bridge safer, but most important, it is yet another link in our safety net that will save lives. Far too long, this beautiful bridge, this internationally known landmark, carried with it a notorious legacy. Far too many have come here to end their lives. The suicide deterrent net will give people another chance and shed the dark cloud that has loomed large over the bridge's legacy as an engineering marvel. I want to recognize the real champions who made today's milestone possible. All the families, the members of the Bridge Rail Foundation, and the families of those who came to this bridge to end their lives, particularly parents of young people whose lives were so tragically cut short. And along with my colleagues on both the Bridge District Board and MTC, I am humbled by the presence here today of Kimberly Renee Gamboa, whose son Kyle was a teen when he died here. Kimberly Renee, along with her husband Manuel, carried their love and grief in equal measure into the halls of government, from the district boardroom to the state capitol and beyond, often quietly, but always powerfully urging policymakers to do the right thing. Today's commemoration really is a tribute to the patience, the persistence, and the perspective of the parents. The net will not bring back the loved ones lost, but it will spare countless other families from similar heartbreak in the future. And for this, we can be thankful, thoughtful, and above all, hopeful. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Of course, we are here today because, as David said, and the speaker, the tireless efforts of countless advocates. I did want to acknowledge that David Hull and Paul Muller, who helped start the Bridge Rail Foundation. I think they're here, David and Paul. Thank you. Bridge Rail Foundation is a nonprofit supporting efforts on educating people about suicide and mental health. And I wanted to also acknowledge that Eve Meyer and John Vidori could not be here today from the San Francisco Suicide Prevention, who were here for many years. But today we get to hear from Kimberly Renee Gamboa, who's been she's become a friend of the board and the board staff and the board members. After their son Kyle's death in 2013, the Gamboa family attended and advocated for a barrier at every Golden Gate Bridge Board meeting for over a decade. Just an amazing advocacy. And today their wish is a reality. It's my great honor to introduce Kimberly Renee Gamboa. Kimberly.
So good morning. My name is Kimberly Renee Gamboa, and I am holding one of my favorite high school photos of my son, Kyle Emerson Gamboa. Kyle was just 18 years old when he jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge at 11:45 a.m. on September 20th, 2013. Over 10 years ago, my son lost his life on this iconic structure. Tragically, Kyle is one of too many loved ones who have died here, leaving behind devastated families, friends, and shattered communities. Today, we are here to mark a monumental achievement: the completion of the Golden Gate Bridge suicide deterrent. This project has been a long time coming, and its completion signifies hope, compassion, and a commitment to saving lives. This deterrent is not just a physical barrier. It is a symbol of our collective effort to prevent the loss of life and the lifelong heartache that follows. This deterrent shows we care, that we all care about human beings, that we all care about life. I want to express my profound gratitude to John Bateson, whose book, The Final Leap, Suicide on the Golden Gate Bridge, provided me with the answers to the many questions I so desperately needed answered about my son's death. I still have a few more. Sorry, I just got to change pages. It is through his book that I discovered the Bridgewell Foundation, a crucial organization advocating for this very suicide deterrent. When I reached out to the foundation, Dave Hull, who lost his daughter Kathy to the bridge, was president at the time, and he guided me. I asked him, what can I do to make sure this never happens to another family? His answer was simple: go to a Golden Gate Bridge meeting. My husband Manuel and I attended our first district meeting in November 2013, and Dave was there to support us. We shared Kyle's story with the board and vowed to attend every meeting until a suicide deterrent was built. We missed only 2 meetings from November 2013 until January 2025, when the deterrent was constructed and the bridge fully protected. I want to thank Dana Whitmer, who lost her son Matthew to the bridge. Through her unwavering support, Dana helped me create a petition through change.org that garnered over 150,000 signatures from all over the world advocating for the suicide deterrent. Her support extends beyond the petition. She has been a rock for me and so many others through her Golden Gate Bridge Survivors Group and her tireless advocacy with the Bridgewell Foundation. Back to Mark. I would like to also extend my heartfelt thanks to Dana and Candy Bart, who lost their son Donovan to the bridge. Dana spent hours talking to me after I lost Kyle, offering comfort and understanding. For years, Dana and Candy have hosted the Names in the Sand gathering at Baker Beach, where we write all the names of those lost to the bridge in the sand from sunrise to sunset. This evening has provided a space for collective grief, remembrance, and healing. I also want to acknowledge Kevin Hines, one of the few who actually jumped off the bridge and survived, for his kindness and lifelong dedication to advocating for mental health, suicide prevention, and the suicide deterrent on the Golden Gate Bridge. My gratitude extends to the Golden Gate Bridge District and staff for approving and constructing the deterrent despite numerous obstacles. Thank you for listening to all of us and taking decisive action. The Bridge District staff, Bridge Patrol, construction workers, U.S. Coast Guard, CHP, have shown relentless dedication in intervening and saving lives. They are compassionate individuals who have made a significant difference and huge sacrifice in dealing with the frequent suicides on this bridge. I could not do what they do every day. Thank you. The completion of this project would not have been possible without the contributions of so many. The suicide deterrent removes the lethal means for vulnerable individuals to end their lives too soon. While it may seem like a small step in addressing broader issues like mental health and overall suicide, it is a crucial step in healing our community and the world. As one of our friends, Kim, who lost her friend Olivia Wang to the bridge, wisely said, as a society, we all need to build a net of empathy so people don't feel like jumping off an actual bridge. With the completion of the net, the Golden Gate Bridge suicide deterrent is already working. It has significantly reduced the number of suicides and interventions. This accomplishment not only saves lives, but also prevents the heartbreak and despair that follows a loss. It is a testament to what we can achieve when we come together for a common cause. This project could not have been completed without everyone here and the many who could not be here today. The suicide deterrent could not have been completed without everyone's contributions and life force. Not a day goes by that I am not amazed and so grateful for a wonderful group of people that made the Golden Gate Bridge suicide deterrent happen. From experiencing the most devastating tragedy of losing someone to suicide on this bridge, to everyone coming together and supporting each other during the hardest times of our lives, and not just during the immediate time of tragedy, but forever supporting each other in the most caring, compassionate ways. It's just so unbelievable to me. You are all so appreciated. I can't even put it all into words. Nothing will ever bring my son back, and I miss him every single day, as I know so many feel the same who have lost a loved one to this bridge. But this deterrent shows that we care deeply about those we have lost and those who may be at risk in the future. This journey has been long and filled with both pain and healing. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for supporting us. And thank you for taking decisive action to save lives on the Golden Gate Bridge. Thank you. Yes.
I don't think there's a better way to close the program than with that. So thank you to Kimberly, thank you to all the families, and thank you current and former board members and staff for being here. And thank you very much for being here. Thank you.